Well, a very good evening. Welcome to this edition of Breeding to Win. We've got a nice lineup for you and obviously a couple of nice, interesting inserts to bring you as well. And as you can see, Fiona's with me, looking very foxy in her new G-Fox outfit. And you've been out and about, quite busy these last couple of weeks.
Very busy. We love every moment of it. We're very lucky to visit some beautiful farms, meet lots of great people, and it's been wonderful chatting to the grooms who've been winning their G-Fox hampers.
Yeah, and it's an exciting time of the year as well for you because the racing really has picked up. We've had some nice feature races in the Western Cape, and obviously this weekend up in Johannesburg also some cracking racing. It was the Celebrity Mile, the Charity Mile, brought you with Empress Palace, and also the Ready to Run sale on Sunday. And I think that sale looked pretty damn good as well, considering the economic climate. So let's go into your whereabouts. Obviously, you've been travelling around, you've been chatting to Drakenstein, and you and Kevin have come up with quite a nice idea in terms of following a foal.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea. We're going to follow a foal throughout her career. It's a little gold standard foal. We met her for the first time this week and did some filming, and we're going to follow her throughout her journey, whether she ends up going to a sale or racing, hopefully racing. But we'll follow her through all the stages, through weaning and all the stages. So it's going to be lots of fun keeping up with her.
It'll be very exciting because I don't think a lot of the people that aren't based on the farms realise just what it takes to get a horse to a sale, never mind to the races, and then from the sale to the races, and then obviously, hopefully, to the winner's enclosure. It really is a lengthy process. But let's go straight into that insert then, and let's see what Fee and Kevin have come up with the Follow the Foal.
We're going to be running a very interesting little series which I hope the public will enjoy. We're going to be following a foal throughout her career from birth until she gets to the racecourse or perhaps the sales, whichever route she takes. But it's a very interesting project and I hope that you will all enjoy it, and we will see her through her stages and her progress getting there, and obviously how it involves the staff and what they have to go through to get this foal to the racecourse. And with me today is Kevin Somerville from Drakenstein to chat to us about our chosen foal. Kevin, the foal has been born. She looks very, very pretty. We've seen her this morning, a lovely little filly foal.
Yeah, absolutely, Fee. Yeah, so I think it's interesting because it's the first crop of gold standard that we've sort of chosen here out of one of a stalwart sort of mares here at Drakenstein, mare called National Banker. She's been around with us for a long time. She's the dam of Half the Deficit, a Group 2 winner with Sean Terry. And, you know, so she's been around, and this is her last foal that she's going to probably ever have. We've been struggling with her feet for quite some time now, so we can give her a nice retirement after this. But she's got a lovely little gold standard foal, and, you know, she can be a little bit tricky, the mare. Her foals can have not the best front legs, so we'll have to watch that. We'll have to work very closely with the farrier to sort of see how we manage that. And I think it'll be a nice process, you know, to sort of, you know, just see the foal develop, and, you know, we'll see the journey that she goes on.
Yeah, absolutely, because I don't think people always realise what goes into it. I mean, we're going to follow her through her journey, and that will be weaning and then going on to obviously growing and being broken in and being got ready for the racetrack.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, I mean, that's the journey we like to see all of them take. There's usually some, what's the word, obstacles along the way that these foals have to go through, but this is just her second day of life. And she looks pretty bonny and you know, a pretty little thing. So we'll try and give it, you know, a full go and give her the best chance she possibly has.
So the first stage is obviously eating and drinking and sleeping and growing, sure. And she'll be in the paddock and then in the stable maybe by night. But obviously that's quite an involvement for the grooms as well. They've got to keep an eye on these mares and foals and make sure they're healthy and look after them through their early days. Definitely.
You know, so you know, we have a whole team that arrives at night time to see the foaling, to make sure everything goes according to plan, and it's never that simple. It's there's always, you know, just things that, you know, that throw you off course. But with hers it was quite simple. Mare knows her job pretty well, and you know, then we sort of, yeah, Drakenstein like to get pretty hands-on with him pretty early on. You can see that foal, it's 2 days old, but it's pretty used to a human being holding it. And you know, Colin is a wonderful little guy, and he's, you know, I think he's got a huge potential here for Drakenstein. So he's got a very calm nature, and I think horses sort of, you know, feed off that. And you know, so she's got to learn to be walked in hand, and you know, we like to sort of get the groom involved pretty early on, and so she'll get handled a lot, and then then in a couple of weeks' time she'll get the farrier for the first time, which will hopefully get you out to see, and we get Robbie to look at the conformation of the foal and decide how do we just leave it or do we fiddle a little bit, and then as the process goes on, we'll get more and more involved.
Yeah, it's very important to have all that handling and have a nice quiet horse going forward. Well, it's an exciting journey for us to be following and filming as well, because I'm looking forward already to coming back and seeing this foal as she grows up. I mean, she looks fantastic just being so young, but as we said, now it's all about growing and eating and drinking and sleeping. But beautiful foal, and we really look forward to seeing her again soon.
Yeah, no, she is, Fee, and you'll be surprised how much they change. We like to take a photo of them at about 7 to 10 days, which sort of gives us an impression of what they're going to be like a little bit later on. But some of them stay exactly the same shape as they always are, but some of them change dramatically. So usually the Trippies and the gold standards actually are quite similar the way they're born, and then as they grow up, that's an incredible trait that Trippy has. They're very predictable, and you can sort of recognize those traits very instantly, and there's no doubt about it that gold standard is throwing that same sort of pretty head, but then I think surprisingly for us, he's actually throwing quite a lot of good bone and good bums on them, nice big quarters and stuff like that. So for him, it's a difficult time in his life. Well, not a difficult time, but it's the start of his career, and so he's syndicated with a bunch of shareholders, and I think the reports that we've got from all the other farms and the gold standards that have been born at the moment, that we're very, very pleased with them, and I think he's actually got a really bright future. So that's the exciting part. So it's not just the foal for the mother, but also this is gold standard's first crop of foals, and we'll follow them, and just based on what the foals we're getting, I think he's got a real shot at it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really exciting. And looking at gold standard this morning, he does look absolutely fantastic. It really does look well. Yeah,
he's an incredibly beautiful horse. It's the game we play, but he was only a half a length off William Longsword, and William Longsword in the Guineas. I mean, he beat William Longsword in the Selangor, so there's not much between them, and William Longsword is a very popular stallion, and gold standards, we raced him on for a couple of years, and it didn't go all to plan, but it was, I think that the brilliance was always there, so we believe in him 100%. I think Draken sent him 19 or 20 mares in his first year, so we're pretty bullish about him, and obviously we'd love to follow on the Trippy sort of sire line. We think it's done so wonderfully well in South Africa, and we're very excited about him being here, and we'd like to follow that on.
Yeah, absolutely, perfect. And for us, we're obviously not going to see the foal every day, but for us, we will definitely see big changes every time we come in growth. And it'll be also nice to see when you actually wean this foal, what they actually eat in terms of their diet and everything. It's going to be interesting having a look at all of that as well. Well, thank you very much for introducing us to her this morning, and we're looking forward to seeing you again next time.
Fantastic, thank you.
Really looking forward to following this little gold standard filly. She looks a picture this morning. She's really rather cute. She's got a long journey to go. We will be following her and enjoying every moment of it.
Well, I think that's going to be a fantastic insert to follow, and really look forward to seeing how she develops through her career. It really is a nice and novel concept as well. But obviously one of the big things that's facing South Africa at the moment, you've seen it all over social media, and the EU with their chickens, and maybe the delaying in terms of getting an audit here as well. But for you went and you chatted to Adrian Todd, and great that Global Logistics, JJ and his team always contribute to Adrian's updates for us as well. And obviously it's a vital component for our racing industry at the moment.
Yes, we hadn't chatted to Adrian for a while, so it was really good to get a good catch up with him and see where we are. It's obviously a long, hard slog. He thinks he's really getting there. It's a slow process, but we are getting there, and he's having lots of meetings, and I think we've still got to be encouraged by his good work.
Yeah, I think the key part for us as well is that he is dealing with government officials, both here and in the EU, and they're never really like dealing with a corporate. They take their time. It's not as easy and instantaneous as we would hope for it to be, and I think there has been so much good work that's gone on behind the scenes. But let's find out a little bit more when you caught up with Adrian Todd.
Today's protocol update is brought to you by Global Logistics. Now, Adrian Todd has been working very, very hard on this project of importing and exporting horses in South Africa, and it's a while since we've chatted to him, but we're going to have a good catch up today and see just where we are. Adrian, thanks for taking the time to be on today's show.
Oh, thank you, Fee. It's always a pleasure.
Now, you said that recently Hong Kong have been here and you've engaged in a meeting with them, and that was quite positive.
It was very positive for, the Hong Kong Jockey Club and through them the Asian Racing Federation. They've always been big supporters of trying to get this across the line. And there was a conference, they called it a summit, where they just put across what they think and how they've been helping over the years and how they can continue to help with this. There's two parts to it. They're also involved and have financially contributed to looking at alternative vaccines to the live vaccine. And that's a very good longer-term parallel to exports that will help with the sustainability. But on the front of exports, where we are now, I think in summing up, the CEO of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, Winfried Engelbrecht-Retjes, stated that for South Africa, the active participation in the global market and supply chain is the #1 fundamental for long-term sustainability of South African racing and breeding. And the only way we're going to achieve that is to continue to move forward in a united front. And a lot of the things that you read about where exports are going, I think it's a subject like many in horse racing that is passion, and it evokes passion and emotions. And I want to also just try and clarify a couple of points that it's very simple. We hear negotiations have been happening for decades, etc. Well, it's simply not true, Fee. From 1997 to 2011, South Africa exported. In 2011, there was an outbreak. For a whole host of reasons, between 2011 and late 2018, it was impossible for South Africa to export. Systems weren't in place, we were under bans. Very simple. Since late 2011, we've been pushing very hard to get an audit. So the takeaways I think that I want to try to get across to people is we could have never exported before late 2018. And secondly, where we are now pushing for this, unfortunately, we have become embroiled, through no doing of our own, in a wider trade negotiation, actually let's call it what it is, dispute between South Africa and the EU. The EU is leveraging South Africa for other concessions, mainly in the poultry arena, in return for an equine audit. This is political brinkmanship. This is how it works. We can sit here and say it's unfair that two are not linked. I agree. And we're working diligently to break that deadlock. And we are fortunate. I've recently returned from Europe, and we found that we've got a lot of politically influential friends. We're pushing hard on that front too, to break that deadlock, to separate the horses from the wider trade negotiations, and I believe we'll succeed. That said, it's a curveball we didn't expect. The third point is that all of this has cost money and continues to cost money. Funding has been one of the biggest problems we've faced, but even more importantly than that, there's now a total need for everybody in South Africa to be united behind this.
And Adrian, are you confident that our system is up to date to meet the world standards?
Fee, not only am I very confident, our government's confident, And we've had, on 2 occasions, international experts come to review the systems and assist where they needed, and we've made changes. And I think that's something that we forget as the general populace. We're always wanting to say, the science is now proven. But I think people miss the enormity and the complexity of that system, that very good team we have, and I'm fortunate to have those guys, John Brewer, Bev Parker, Camilla Vaya, that put together a system that does meet world standards. And it's an enormously complex task that they've succeeded in very well. Now we have to push ahead. I've heard other comments, why don't we deal with this country or that country? And they're very good comments. But the reality is, the EU is considered the gold standard by the world. Nobody is going to trade with us until we're trading with the EU. So that's the takeaways. System is in place. Have to trade with the EU before you can trade with anyone else. And no other way to achieve that except to stand united and push it across the line. And the negativity you hear is born out of frustration or misunderstanding of where we are. But if there's ever a need for us to be united, to get something done, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely. You've come this far, and as you said, it's been a very, very frustrating journey. I mean, you've worked on getting our vaccines in order, passports in order, everything is checked and double-checked, and we're certainly right up there in the health and safety. But it's been a long journey, and you certainly can't give up now. You just got to keep pushing forward. We're nearly there.
You have to, and especially when you see what can come out on the other side, Fee. One of the things that was announced by the Hong Kong Jockey Club and Asian Racing Federation is once we get this totally sorted, by 2025, they see having international races in South Africa. Because you must remember, exporting is one thing, importing is another thing. And we'll get that up and running as soon as possible, the exports. But to be bringing horses in where they're just training at a racetrack for a couple of weeks, like a proper international race, if we can have that by 2025 or even a year earlier, that's a massive achievement. And for people who say, well, I'm not interested in export, they're missing the point here, because this will bring international horses, and with it, it will bring international sponsors, which raises the profile and raises the sponsorship money coming into South Africa. By raising the profile, our picture is more wanted abroad. That gets sold, it's more money coming into South Africa into prize money. We cannot sustain ourselves swimming in our own little pond. In today's day and age, if you don't compete on the global market and the global scale, then you may as well get out.
Yeah, looking at the bigger picture, it could just save racing. I mean, racing desperately needs this.
Desperately, racing has a lot of issues that everybody's trying to work through. But it's one step at a time. It's like, there's an old Afrikaans saying, always makes me laugh, how do you eat an elephant? Small mouthfuls. That's what we're doing here, one step at a time. Exports is but one of many things that will help save racing in South Africa.
Now, million-dollar question. I mean, as you said, you're step by step, you're getting there. But when do you think now?
Look, Fee, I'm always hesitant to place a date on it, because if you place dates on things and they change, then you get told that you didn't know what you were talking about. And I think one thing you have to remember is that in the political world, things are not done and decisions are not based on the commercial realities that the rest of us operate within. I'm still extremely hopeful that we can secure an audit date within the next month or so. That's always been my goal. I didn't think we'd get tied up as much with the chicken disputes as we did. That's very unfortunate. But you play the hand that you get dealt.
Yes, because when I've spoken to you before, you know, we thought dates were going to be in place, and there's just been lots of hurdles. It's been very much a roller coaster ride, hasn't it?
Oh, definitely, Fee. And unfortunately, that's how it Well, not really unfortunately, it's just that's how it works in the world of politics. There's been other delays within the EU. We have been slowed down by Brexit because, of course, that's been something that they've paid a lot of attention to lately, as we all know if we watch the news. But you can't blame that alone. And now with the dispute between South Africa and the EU on poultry, it's unfortunately delayed matters, and we've had to change our approach and come at this from a slightly different angle. You know, our government at a ministerial level have now been briefed to understand exactly how important this industry is. The Europeans understand that as well. And our strategy on a political level has gained traction and it's succeeding.
Yeah, well, it's a very difficult job for you because there's so much negativity in the air, and when are we going to get there? Is it going to happen? But you're doing a great job, and you're keeping going and fighting for us.
No, thank you, Fee, but unfortunately, in our racing environment, you always get a lot of negativity. And I wish that people would just take that out of it, try and be a bit proactive, get involved. You know, I know that some of the control measures that are in place make people's life more awkward. The reality is they're there for a reason, and we have to live with them. As things progress and as funding becomes better when we get exporting, we'll be looking at ways we can streamline those things. But for now, the mission is to get South Africa exporting. And some people are going to say they're not interested in it. Well, everybody's entitled to an opinion.
We'll keep up the good work because moving on, when we do get there, as you said, there's going to be lots of positivity for South Africa, and you're doing a great job, so keep it up. We are getting there.
Thanks, Fee.
Thank you for being on the show and giving us a good update today.
You're welcome.
Well, the protocol update, as I said, was brought to you by Global Logistics this morning, and we've had a really good update on where we are with the import and export protocol system in South Africa. We are getting there, and we've all got to keep thinking positively towards these protocol import and exports. A date for everyone's diary is the Klavervlei Farm Sale, which is held every June, and with that is also an exciting race which we have in March, and that's coming up. And Grant's actually going to chat to me now, being on the other side of the mic, about that race that's actually round the corner now, and we've got all the juveniles starting, and that race comes along in March 2020. Exciting times. It was great last year, wasn't it, Grant?
It was. Last year was obviously the first year, Fee, and great that we had Betting World on board for it to just help us along. And we managed to raise a stake of 225,000 Rand for the winner, who was actually Rock the Globe, who was a great purchase. It was actually a pinnock of the Ready to Run from Justin Vermaak, and he's gone on and he's actually run fourth in a Group 1 as well. So just highlights the calibre of what horses have come through there. We had another Farm Sale graduate win at Kenilworth on Tuesday as well. A 10 grand purchase by Twice Over, who's come through to win a very good staying race. But we're looking forward to this. But the reason why we want to just to remind the trainers that that race is on the 28th of March. So obviously the juvenile races are going to be starting fairly soon. And just to put in the back of their minds that the graduates from that farm sale do have a lucrative maiden plate, so to speak, or maybe even a novice plate that these horses will be able to run in. So we're looking forward to that. And I think it'll be another nice day. And obviously we'll look to do the soccer again. I think you came and you watched the grooms and the Interstud soccer tournament. Joburg's cribbed the idea they're going to be having one as well. But it was so popular with the grooms, and even Justin, I think Justin Snaith came to watch, and he got there just in time for his team having a penalty shootout. And the motivational enhancement that he was offering for them to score a goal on the penalty shootout, well, I tell you what, the Snaith team wanted to win as well, but it was held in great spirit, and we're looking forward to that day.
I was going to say the football for me was really exciting. As you said, I was there, I was watching. It was so competitive, and the grooms, I mean, they love their soccer, and they were just grinning from ear to ear, and it was such a fun event. And then obviously to roll straight into the races and getting the people on course. It was a great vibe all day.
It was a great vibe, and all those grooms that came to play soccer stayed for the day's racing. So there was a great bra put on for them as well, and I think they loved it. I think we'll have quite a few more soccer teams that want to participate this year, and they're obviously welcome to do that. We'll be sending out all the details probably in the new year. But foremost, what we wanted to chat about was just to let the trainers know that they have bought a farm sale horse. He is eligible, or she is eligible for that race on the 28th of March, 225,000 Rand, and that whole race statistic will be in your program brochure as well to see when entries are and everything like that. But it was a great success first year round, and we're looking forward to it. I think the sales races always add something. You know, we've got the ready to runs that are around the corner now, and everybody who gets a ticket who's bought a horse, when they go to those sales, they generally buy a horse to see whether they can get an entry into one of those sales races. And when you do manage to get it, well, the hype that you get when you go to the course that day is really something special. So we're hoping that's going to be the same for the farm sale race.
So we're really urging trainers to get your juveniles out, get them ready for that race day in March.
Yeah, well, not without pushing them, obviously, but if there are juveniles that are showing that they could be a little bit precocious, that they could be ready for that race over 1,250 metres, they need to get cracking on them, and we look forward to maybe having an even stronger field this year than we had. I think there were 10 or 11 runners. We had one that was scratched at the start, unfortunately. But I think it's a race that certainly can grow.
Yeah, really, really exciting. And the soccer. And of course, then before we know it, it'll be the June farm sale again. And it's a wonderful sale, lots and lots of fun. And obviously, really nice horses come off that sale.
Yeah, we love that sale. We love having the people come to the farm to show them the farm, the stallions. And it's one of those sales where there's just so much camaraderie around. Everyone seems to enjoy themselves. Might be something to do with the bar and the Jägermeister machine that some of the new turf guys sponsor. That could be part of it. But it's a great fun weekend, and it actually lends itself into having a race day as well, because it's almost like part two of the sale. You get to meet everybody again at the races at Durbanville and have some good fun.
Great incentive to buy at the sale as well. Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully filming the football again and getting some really good, fun interviews.
Yeah, no, that'll be fun. And maybe we should enter a team, the Breeding to Win team, and you can be goalie.
Thank you very much, guys, for that.
Well, let's move on to another segment, and obviously Fee's important role here as well is finding as many good foals as well, because we love bringing you some of the pictures of foal of the week, and thank you for submitting them to her. Let's take a look at this week's foal. Well, you heard from Fiona early on. She loves doing the drive around. She loves going to visit the different farms. And one of her new favourites is going to go meet some of the grooms that have been nominated for Groom of the Month. And they are just so delighted when you arrive on the farm, Fee, and you present them their wonderful G-Fox hamper. The smiles you can see on their face. You get to meet some of their family members. And there's always a story behind why they get nominated as well. And I think certainly a lot of grooms are enjoying watching their counterparts get awarded these prizes too.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. As you said, the grooms' faces just light up. They love their hamper. They get a beautiful hamper from G-Fox, some smashing clothing and boots, so they're chuffed to bits with that. And I get to talk to them. Sometimes they're a little bit nervous, but it's lovely to chat to them. They're all doing such wonderful work on the farms, and they've been nominated for their wonderful roles. And it's great to see their families as well and where they live. It's wonderful to include them on the show.
Well, you had an idea as well when we were chatting at races, and you said, well, why don't we open it up to some of the trainers' yards as well. Now, I'm sure there are trainers that have had grooms that have been with them a long time that really deserve to be maybe nominated for such a competition as well. And I think we're going to do that. So I think when you're out and about on the road and you may be doing some of your interviews for pre-race day comments from the trainers, maybe you can suggest to them if they've got a good groom that they think needs rewarding for being just maybe going above the normal level of excellence, maybe they should give that detail to you as well.
Yeah, I think so. It'd be lovely to open it up to the trainers' grooms. I'm sure there's lots of good grooms out there that look after really, really good horses or have done in the past, and of course that can ride well as well. So it'd be really interesting to have them on the show as well, and we can even go and film them perhaps riding work in the morning.
We look forward to that as well. And if you do want to submit an entry, the email address to use would be Fiona@breeding2win. And she'll be looking forward to getting hold of you as well. But you'll be able to see her both on the training tracks in the mornings and also at the races as well. So lots of opportunities to get in touch. Thanks for joining us on the show, Fee. Thanks for joining me as well.
Thank you. It's been great. And we've had a very, very busy week and looking forward to the busy week ahead as well.
Well, let's just talk about what's happening as well coming up. We've obviously got the CTS ready to run sale. That's not too far away. We'll be bringing a couple of highlights of that next week's show as well. And then obviously Summer Cup's not far away either.
Yeah, no, it's really is the silly season. Busy with racing, busy with sales. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these CTS candidates galloping. That's going to be lots of fun, and seeing them go through their paces.
We look forward to that as well. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to hosting you again next week.